With a hectic, fast-paced, double episode premiere setting the stage for our new Star Trek animated show, Star Trek Prodigy, how did its third episode compare, now we're on board the USS Protostar, having escaped Tars Lamora? Welcome to Trek Central, I'm your host Captain Jack, and let's get right into it. Episode 3 of Star Trek Prodigy, titled Starstruck, was written by Chad Quantrill and directed by Alan Wan, and is only 23 minutes compared to the first episode's 46. Subsequent episodes will be just 20 to 25 minutes long, with the premiere having just been 2 episodes tied together. Now before we jump into our review, of course, if you do want to keep up to date on all the latest Star Trek news, lore and more, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can of course follow us on social media for daily updates on the Star Trek universe. But don't forget to let us know what you think down below in the video comment section, because if you're talking about Star Trek, then of course we want to hear about it.
Technically, it's auto-targeting, but you get to push the button.
I have tracked the Protostar's warp signature.
Take me to that ship. To get my ship back. Prepare the Rev 12.
Episode 3 of Prodigy takes a much slower pace than that of the first episode, which I'm very relieved for. The main action of this episode is of our new crew of the USS Protostar looking around the ship, discovering what makes it tick, and then trying to escape the gravity of the star. Trying to solve a problem, with the problem also being represented by their characters, with Dahl trying not only to rely on people, but learning that sometimes he has to. We get a good look at more of the interior of the Protostar in this episode, but we'll do a dedicated video of that instead of putting that in this review, so look forward to that. But at least we'll mention the fact that not only does the ship have 2 warp cores, which is kinda crazy already, they seem to feed into another piece of technology. Maybe a quantum slipstream drive, or something similar like a transwarp drive. Who knows, if you've been on Twitter recently, you probably would have seen me figured it out already. Anyway, we do get more of a Holo Janeway this episode compared to last, and I will say that she is just a fascinating character. Not just because it's Janeway, but her purpose as a training hologram is to assist the crew of our USS Protostar in returning to Federation space. This single line is fascinating. Doesn't mean that the entire intention was for the ship to go into the Delta Quadrant and try to return. I'm sure we'll find out more as the episodes go on. Another thing of Holo Janeway is that she seems to be kinda gullible, believing that this is a crew of cadets. I'd like to think that she's simply letting them do what they want and testing them by playing gullible, but we shall see. It could be due to the fact that she is a simple hologram program, and not as advanced as other programs we've seen before. Then again, I really want to believe this idea of a hologram playing gullible, and we know the Doctor can, so Janeway, Her speech about the Federation is great and really inspires you. A nice touch which did appear in some preview clips for this episode, and I know a lot of people were talking about the inclusion of a Crossfield class type starship in the holograms, and were slightly confused. Some people thought the events of Star Trek Discovery Season 2 classified this type of starship, which isn't true. The official record said that the Discovery was lost with all hands. The only things that were classified were the Spore Drive and the Control Incident. But seeing the Crossfield class alongside the NX, Intrepid, Defiant, Galaxy and Constitution classes is great, as well as a speech on the Federation by Janeway. It was such a great introduction to the Federation, Starfleet and our former hero ships to newcomers to the franchise. If it inspires us, it's definitely going to inspire kids watching this show. Character-wise, I think this episode was great, giving us time with most of our characters. Dahl seems to be having more history behind him, wanting to do things his own way and not rely on figures of authority, and just this whole speech about the Federation, and if things are too good to be true, they are, which might link into how he got captured and sent to Tars Lamora in the first place, being given some false hope only to find himself sent to a prison colony. But I think the character that shines the most in this episode is Rok-Tahk, and I definitely have to give credit to Riley Ozaki, who really nails the emotional sides of this episode for Rok-Tahk. We get a scene where Rok-Tahk and Jankum Pog are in the mess hall ordering food on the replicator. But Rok-Tahk orders Nutri Goop, the food that is given to them in the mines, saying that this is the only food they've ever had, which is incredibly sad to think about, though Janeway does say she likes a girl who knows what she likes. But the best emotional scenes come from when Rok-Tahk talks to Gwyn about their enslavement, and asks her why she didn't do anything to stop it. Gwyn was under the assumption that they're all just criminals, but deep down she must have known that this was a lie, and kept up this view to feel okay that she couldn't help them from her father. This even comes to head when Gwyn escapes the brig, and there is a nice fight sequence inside a vehicle replicator, which by itself is a cool piece of tech, and makes it a cool stage for a fight. I can't wait to see this in operation later. Now, the scenes back on Tars Lamora are equally fascinating, and set up the Diviner as a villain that hunts down the Protostar as well. The Chimerian that was being mined at the colony is being used not only for trade, but its ability to be used as a Chimerian cloak, to cloak the entirety of Tars Lamora. Chimerium was a mineral from the Trek books that is able to block sensors and transporter signals, so it being used to create a mass cloaking field also works. With the Diviner also saying that the Chimerium is needed for trade in order to get the ship back, I wouldn't be surprised if the Diviner also hires mercenaries to hunt down the ship as well. Very Darth Vader-ish here. We know his fortress on Tarsmore turns into a starship, the Rift 12? Which is really cool, and I can't wait to see more of that. But having some legacy Delta Quadrant aliens turn up as bounty hunters hunting down the protostar would be super cool. I'm going to be seeing K's on slave traders, but how about some Hayazi bounty hunters on Voyager, or better yet, the Hirogen? I'd love to see them back as hunters. Let's also just mention that the Katean child from last episode, which the fan fell in love with, is seen in work in this episode, though it's sadly put to work in the mines now that Gwyn isn't there to stop that from happening. So hopefully our crew return to Tarsmore to free the slaves, but especially to free that cute Katation. Continuing from the last episode, the animation in this episode was simply great, which I think will be a staple point of this series. The scenes of the protostar travelling into the binary star system were beautiful, and I can't wait to see what other spectacles this show might take us to, even if we get some familiar ones on Voyager, like the Nurglic Expanse, which would also help give us more of an indication where exactly we are in the Delta Quadrant. This episode was a welcome reply from the hectic pacing of the last episode, giving us more time with our new characters, getting to know what they're about, and some more time with our other character, the USS Protostar. Prodigy is continuing to be a great show, and we look forward to everything it has in store for us. Don't forget now, you can watch brand new episodes of Star Trek Prodigy each week on Thursdays via Paramount Plus in the United States, or via Crave and CTV Sci-Fi in Canada. Now regarding international viewing, there are no 100% confirmed details as of yet, but we do know that Prodigy is set to air in the UK via Sky TV in 2022. That's a wrap on this week's Star Trek Prodigy review. Don't forget to let us know what you think of the episode down below in the comment section, because like always, if you're talking about Star Trek, then we want to hear about it. If you do want to keep up to date on all the latest Star Trek news, lore and more, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media or join our community Discord server. Of course, I've been Captain Jack, thanks for watching and we'll see you next time. Live long and prosper my friends, goodbye.